Hello, hello. So Frankenstein chapters 11 and 12. Before I get started, though, I wanted to give a shout out to Bilal because this is probably the most you've ever seen me teach and I've ever seen you teach since the beginning of school. Oh, just kidding, Bilal. I miss you guys. I miss your stories. I miss your crazy jokes. I miss Julian in the back with his attitude. I miss Amari running around like a crazy boy. I miss you guys pretending that you're hiding your phones from me when I really am watching your faces light up behind your purse and your backpack. And I miss you guys. I really hope that this is over soon so we can get back together and finish your senior year because Mama Shro loves you. But in order to make sure we finish a senior year, we got to get through Frankenstein. So let's do that right now. Chapters 11 and 12, ladies and gentlemen. Number 1, who takes over narration of the chapters at this point? At this point, the creature takes over narration of the chapters. Now, this is a big, oh my goodness moment for people because we have this creature who you, as a human being, raised in the United States, every Halloween, you see somebody walking around who is Frankenstein and they're like, oh, right? And they don't talk, they can't articulate a sentence. How many of you were surprised that the creature was very eloquent, very learned? And you're thinking, how? How does he learn how to talk? How does he learn how to not only talk, but talk intelligently and with a lot of articulation, and eloquence, as I've already said. So let's find out. We're going to learn a little bit about the creature's story now. Number 2, describe the creature's suffering in the forest near Ingolstadt. So the creature, and this is going to be a long lecture, FYI. So the creature, as he was, after he left Ingolstadt and he was in the forest, he was an infant. Remember, we talked about that before we left on the break. He was an infant and he had to learn things over or at all, basically, for the first time. And so he has natural human instincts. And if you think about it, as a baby, as an infant, you know when you're hungry, you start moving your mouth. And so it's just a natural starting. Babies put things in their mouths, don't they? So he was putting things in his mouth and he realized that, ooh, berries, yummy. Ooh, sticks, not so good. Ooh, dirt, blah, not so good. Unless you, never mind, I was going to say something. But so he was really learning how to be a human. And there was nobody there to guide him. Think about when you were a kid and you were putting dirt in your mouth and grass and leaves and paper and chalk. And your mom's like, stop, right? He didn't have that. He didn't have somebody to take care of him. He didn't have somebody to guide him. He was pretty much on his own. And it's sad. And he's telling Victor this story, not to evoke sympathy from Victor, but if Victor didn't have sympathy for the creature, then he doesn't have a heart. So the creature also then finds a fire that campers or hunters left, and he sees it's warm, but then what does he do? Because he's a child, he touches the fire and burns his hand. So then he learns. It's a process. He's learning, he's understanding. And as he is learning this, he is starting to go around the campfire. He realizes that if the campfire goes out, he's not going to be warm anymore. So he just goes a couple steps this way, and then he pretty much clears the entire circumference around this campfire, and he depletes it of its natural resources. So he's eaten all the food, all the berries that he can find, and he realizes that he has to leave. So he leaves. That's why question number 3, he's forced to leave the fire because there's nothing left for him. I have a scratch on my back, sorry. All done. Okay, now continuing on. What occurs when he enters the village? Oh, pobrecito. They scream and they get scared and they chase him and they throw stones and rocks at him. So let's talk about this. So far in his life, he has been abandoned twice, and attacked once. It's a sense of abandonment also by human nature, or by human beings, by society, if you think about it. So he's shunned, and he doesn't understand why. Think about a little kid. Think about a first grader, right? That's getting picked on, and they don't understand, why am I getting picked on? What have I done? I haven't done anything to deserve this. And he doesn't have that cognition, but he still, as an infant, recoils. He's shocked. He doesn't understand why this is happening to him. So let's go ahead and continue on. And I say that a lot too. I've also tossed my hair, but I haven't tossed my hair a lot. I just kind of keep looking at it because actually it's not too bad for 10 o'clock at night. Not too bad, huh? Not too shabby for an old lady. Number 5, where does he at last find shelter? He finds shelter at a kind of like a little lean-to, a hovel, and it is up against this house. It's up against a cottage, and he finds shelter there. I've often pictured it to be kind of like a shed that was built up against a little house, and the shed kind of fell over and leaned up against the wall. And so this is the wall for the house. Now that's the wall for the house. It's straight. And the shed kind of just fell up against the wall, and there's not a lot of room in there. Nowadays, you'd maybe put a lawnmower in there, or your dog would sleep in there, because there's really not a lot of room. And that's where he lived. And he was quite comfortable. And he was warm and content. And we're going to talk about what he learned while he was living in that hovel, but we'll talk about that in a moment. So I just propped up my questions. Genius. Okay. Number 6, describe the occupants of the cottage, how old they are, what genders they are, etc. So the occupants of the cottage, ladies and gentlemen, are the DeLacy's. And there is a young man, 20s, a young woman, early 20s, and an older man, old, 50s, maybe 60s, older than. So I would say probably 50s or 60s, not 40s, because I'm in my 40s. Oh. So let's say 50s or 60s for sure. Describe their interactions and moods. So the young girl and the young man, and the old man, they're very loving towards each other, very kind and considerate and affectionate. But there's a sadness about them, and the creature doesn't understand why. Remember, he doesn't know, how to speak. He doesn't know how to read body language. He doesn't have a lot of social interactions. So he's not apt to pick up on their issues. The old man is blind. Question number 8. The old man is blind, and I want to make sure I don't go ahead, because sometimes I get to a point in a lecture where I'm just like, blah, and give you all this information, but that information might not be valid right now. So I want to make sure that I don't go into all of that. Okay. Yeah, that's chapters 13 and 14. So I will wait on that particular part of the lecture, but I will continue on. We're actually almost done, and it's only 9 minutes. Woo, you guys are doing great. Good job taking notes too. So, number 9. Oh, why does the creature stop stealing food from them? Why does the creature stop stealing food? Anyone? Mr. Patwell? Oh, sorry, he's reading his book. Anyone? Oh, okay, in the back. Yeah, okay. I'll take over from here. Good. That was good. That was okay, but let me take over. So, he stops stealing their food because he realizes how poor they are. And he realizes that the young man, who you will learn his name is Felix. I'm just going to call him Felix right now. Felix isn't very good at farming. Felix isn't very good at chopping wood. And it takes him all day long. And so the creature starts feeling sorry for him. And so he doesn't steal food from them anymore. And I want you to think about this. Okay, I've chopped wood. I know you're going to look at me and you're going to say, Shro, you're a lumberjack. And I'm going to say, In college, that's how I put myself through. I was a lumberjack. That's what I did. Don't tell my parents. They thought I just worked at the mall, but I was truly a lumberjack. Bam. No. In actuality, I've chopped wood like once in my life, and I only did it because I've seen it done in the movies, and I thought, oh, this would be cool. I could chop wood. How easy is that? If you've ever chopped wood, raise your hand. If you think chopping wood is easy, raise your hand. Yeah. I think maybe one person raised their hand and they were just trying to impress the girl sitting next to them. Yeah, no, we know it's hard work. So chopping wood, ladies and gentlemen, you have the axe and you're ready to go, boom, and you hit the first spot and you're like, this is easy. And you go again for the second time, and you miss the first spot and you're like, huh. And you go for the third time and you miss the first and the second spot. And so you have to chop wood like tons and tons and all day long just to cut the piece of wood, a tiny little stick, a tiny, tiny, tiny little stick. Okay? It's hard work. And Felix wasn't very good at it. Now, I'll ask you this. I'm really not a lumberjack. I had you tricked. I know. But Felix, when you chop wood, if you do it consistently and you've done it for a long, long time, you get really good at it. And it's a lot easier. And you learn the tricks of the trade as opposed to just, I don't know, watching an old Looney Tunes episode or something and seeing them chop wood and you're like, this is easy. Elmer Fudd can do it. So can I. I think it's different than that. And I know it's different than that. But if you do this for a living, you've got it dialed in and you figured it out. Felix didn't. Felix was not, once again, very good at this. So that would lead us to believe, and the fact that he's not a very good farmer, not very good about getting vegetables and other produce, agriculture to feed his family. He was probably new at this, and we don't know why. We don't know what happened. We don't know what got him there. I do, but you don't because you haven't read that far. But we're going to discover the story in the next few chapters about Felix and Agatha, which is his sister, and Mr. DeLacy, his father. But not today. I know you really want me to, but no. We're going to be done in a minute because Mama Cheryl wants to go read. Okay? Let's see. Number 10. How does he help the family? Bless his sweetheart. He starts chopping wood for them because, I don't know, he's 8 foot tall and superhuman. He is not Beowulf. Doesn't have the heroic characteristics about him. Remember, we have moved beyond that, and now we're in the element of a Gothic novel. It's a Gothic novel. But he is superhuman because Victor made him that way. And so he is able to chop all of this firewood. And at this point in the story, I always have students that are like, Mama Shro, plot hole. They couldn't hear him chopping all this firewood. They couldn't see him carrying all this stuff in. I get it. But I need you to suspend realization. We are going to get through this book and you're going to enjoy it. Not everything is realistic in life. Okay, so just go with it. Just flow. There's going to be other parts that you're going to like, whoa. The fact that this guy came to life from a bunch of dead body parts, that in itself is a plot hole, but we're just ignoring it. Here we go. Let's continue on. Number 11, describe the obvious and intrinsic qualities and abilities the creature learns from them. Well, the obvious qualities, he learns that there's a form of communication. He doesn't have this form of communication yet. We know that he gets it. We haven't figured out how, but you'll learn about that in the next couple of chapters. However, we also know and we see that he recognizes that there's a social dynamic. There's a family dynamic. He also recognizes that there's love, that there's affection, that there's tenderness, and there's kindness. And he starts to mimic that. And once again, to go back to question number 10, that is why he starts to cut firewood for them. He feels compassion. He sees them practicing compassion. And so he feels that compassion as well. And that also plays into the intrinsic qualities and as opposed to just the obvious. So, all right. I think that ends our chapters 11 and 12 questions. I miss you guys once again. I know I already said it, but be safe, stay safe, keep reading. Please message me if you have any questions. Or if you just, I don't know. Just want to talk about anything senior stuff. I can give you information. But love you guys. See you later. LRHS. Have a great day, LRHS.